Hello, and welcome to another retro digital camera review. This time, I actually purchased the cheapest camera listed at the time when I searched for Cybershot on eBay. Though it was listed as for parts of repair, this Sony DSC-H3 looked barely used in the photos supplied. All the description said was that it was untested with no battery or charger. Since this camera uses the same Sony G battery from its big brother, the DSC-H3, that I also have in my collection, I decided to take a chance and buy it. After cleaning up the smudges and dirt, the camera basically looked brand new. And after putting the memory stick in the wrong way, I also put in a battery for the first time. Turns out there is one minor issue with the camera that I purchased. Error code E9101, which basically means that the flash doesn't work. Other than that, this camera is completely functional, so after spending some time with it, I'm going to give my review. The DSC-H3 was originally released in 2007 for around $300 US. It was a more compact and budget-friendly option to go along with the DSC-H7 and H9 cameras released earlier in the same year. I have the black model, though it was also available in silver. In my opinion, the black splatter texture feels much nicer than the cheaper silver painted plastic. It's not the most premium feeling, but does feel high quality and solid. I have no complaints about the build quality here. I actually kinda like how this camera looks, though some past reviews mentioned the H3 being toy-like. The Sony DSC-H3 sits comfortably between compact point-and-shoot and bridge camera, having a large zoom range in a fairly compact size. When powering on the camera, the Carl Zeiss Vario Tessar branded lens will extend to its not-so-wide starting point of 38mm equivalent. Having 10 times optical zoom lets you reach all the way out to a 380mm equivalent field of view. Aperture is fairly average for cameras of this type, starting at f3.5 and narrowing to f4.4 as you zoom in. There's also Sony's Super Steady Shot inside, which will help keep things stable when shooting in low light and with lower shutter speeds. Behind the lens sits a small 1/2.5 inch CCD sensor sporting a resolution of 8.1 megapixels. Definitely not the highest resolution, but still plenty for taking some nice pics for sharing with friends or on social media, as long as you don't crop too much. Next to the lens, you will also find the front-facing microphone and the autofocus assist light. The grip is a little small, but I'll come back to that. The sides are pretty bare, though there is a plastic door on the grip side that hides the proprietary USB and DC in connectors. There is a tripod mount on the bottom with metal threads, though this will block the battery and memory card door. Opening that door reveals the Sony G battery and the slot for a Sony Memory Stick Pro Duo. No option for SD cards here. To get the photos off of this camera, I either use my laptop with its built-in card reader, or swap the card into my newer camera with proper USB connection. Just like the Kodak Z915 I previously looked at, this camera also has a bump on the top, resembling an EVF, that simply hides the flash. There is no kind of viewfinder here at all. This sticker is one of my favorite parts. stating it's full HD 1080 capable for still images. The power button is flush to the top, but still easy to press. Next to that is the 2-step shutter button, as well as a mode dial. The mode dial spins really nicely, with small tactile bumps at each setting. Though there is a manual mode, priority modes are unfortunately missing here. Most of the time, I left the camera in Program Auto mode, with ISO locked to lower values such as 100 or 200. Or at least I tried to leave it in that mode. One of my main and only complaints is the mode dial is a little too easy to bump when taking it out of a bag or pocket, or even just with your shutter finger if you hold it wrong. The rest of the controls are around back and are fairly simple. Buttons are nice and clicky and easy to press without having to readjust your grip, making it easy to use the camera with one hand. The LCD is average sized at 2.5 inches and fairly low resolution at just 115K dots. The screen is decently bright with really nice color, though that really suffers when viewing it at off angles. When comparing the size to some other cameras, you can see that the H3 is quite a bit more compact than its large sibling, the H7, but still quite a bit larger than a compact point-and-shoot. It's actually almost identical in size to my Sony a5000, just with a smaller lens. Coming back to the grip, it's a little different and quite small. Once I learned how to hold this camera though, I found it quite comfortable and I liked the ergonomics. Wrapping your middle finger over the top of the grip and using the simple thumb rest left my pointer finger comfortably in position to take photos in either landscape or portrait without worrying of dropping the camera. Menus are really simple, especially when shooting in auto mode. Switching over to manual or program auto will open up more options such as color modes, ISO, white balance, and more. Unfortunately, there's no option to shoot in RAW for those who like that, though I've been pretty pleased with the JPEGs straight out of the camera. I've actually enjoyed using this camera enough that it's been my favorite one to just toss in my bag for a little while now. And a couple of the photos I've taken have turned out to be some of my favorite shots from this summer. All of the photos here have not been edited in any way. .38mm is more of a standard field of view, and not really very wide at all. Images were actually very sharp at wider focal lengths, though like most compact zoom cameras, you do lose some detail at the long end. I also noticed very minor barrel distortion at 38mm, though it's really only noticeable when there are straight lines near the edge of your frame. I don't know how much I really agree with the CCD hype, or how people say that it looks like film. However, I did really enjoy the colors in a lot of the pictures I was taking with this old camera. Noise isn't too much of an issue, though effects of noise reduction can be seen even at some lower ISO values when zooming in and looking close. Overall, the camera did a decent job with auto-exposing the scene. Being a smaller sensor means less dynamic range, and the H3 does overexpose highlights at times, but I didn't see any real issues with color fringing on contrasty edges either. The DSC-H3 also has a macro mode, which lets you get really close, about 2 centimeters away from your subject. Having 10 times optical zoom means you can also get some decent wildlife shots as well. .380mm is fairly short for small birds, and the lack of sharpness doesn't help, but I do really like how some of these frog photos turned out. There is also a video mode, with options to record up to 640 by 480 at 30 FPS. Unfortunately, when recording, the zoom is locked to the focal length you started the video at, and you cannot zoom in or out without starting a new video clip. Though it couldn't keep up with the shakes of walking, stabilization worked fairly well for handheld video, even at the longer focal lengths. Of course, being a CCD sensor, you will get all the expected flares and center streaks, which can either be interesting or irritating, depending on your personal opinion of that. Relatively speaking, the video quality here really isn't too bad for what it is. Overall, I've been really pleased with this camera. I find it to be a nice size and comfortable to use, and genuinely enjoy the images that the DSC-H3 produces. It makes a really nice backup photo camera to bring along with larger cameras and lenses, and could be a decent camera for bringing on trips or for something like a kid's soccer game. I took a chance on buying one on eBay, listed for parts, and got lucky. Though I wouldn't recommend doing the same, this is a camera I would recommend trying out if you find one for a good price. I've seen some similar models selling locally for around 300 Canadian, which is way too much in my opinion, but it was definitely worth the $10 plus shipping that I paid. I enjoy collecting and making videos on retro digital cameras, though sometimes that takes me a little while and my uploads are quite sporadic. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, a subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Hope you enjoyed the photos and possibly found this video either entertaining or maybe even helpful. That's it for this one. So until next time, thanks for watching.